Texas Governor Greg Abbott has gone to new lows in the Republican culture war. In this case, basically going after both transgender children and their parents. So this is a new directive, essentially taking things one step further in making life difficult for transgender children and persecuting them essentially and their parents. So here is what was released by the governor's office and also by the Office of the Attorney General. They have confirmed in the enclosed opinion that a number of so-called sex change procedures constitute child abuse under existing Texas law. Because the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is responsible for protecting children from abuse, I hereby direct your agency to conduct a prompt and thorough investigation of any reported instances of these abusive procedures in the state of Texas. The letter continues to say that it is already against the law to subject Texas children to a wide variety of elective procedures for gender transitioning, including reassignment surgeries that can cause sterilization, mastectomies, removals of otherwise healthy body parts, and administration of puberty blocking drugs or,
super physiologic?
Yeah, super physiologic doses of testosterone or estrogen. Because this is really a widespread issue that officials and politicians in Texas are really concerned about. There's just been this prevalence of 5-year-olds wanting sex reassignment surgery, and so no. Look, this is let me just quickly say. I talk a lot about manufactured culture wars on this show. And when I talk about the manufactured culture wars, what I'm referring to is how the GOP, because they're useless and have failed to do anything or provide anything that would actually benefit the lives of their own voters, they just make up, they fearmonger, they make up issues that are not really issues. And while it's manufactured, it does end up having real consequences for innocent people who should not have their lives completely destroyed and impacted by these goons who are just posturing because they have nothing else to offer their voters. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, I appreciate you finessing the wording of that, because I know that people have misread the intentions. Yes, it is about plucking from the ether a constant list of issues that don't have any connection to the economic situation of the conservatives who will be brought to froth at the mouth while talking about it. It does not mean that they do not have economic consequences. Virtually all of these culture war topics do. They can literally be about people's life and death, let alone their economic circumstances. But it's just the wrapping paper changes, but the gift is always the same. The nouns in this case are school, trans youth, parents' rights. The end result is always the same. You should be really terrified about the LGBTQ community. And so this is what they feel they can get away with now. If they could just make it about gay adoption, they do that. They did that for years. If they could just make it about gay marriage, they would. They've already got the ads, they could just rerun them. They have been gradually pushed away from those sorts of things. They feel like they've lost a little bit of ground socially in those areas, but they think they've found a shortcut. They can still talk about this. They feel like America's social and cultural commitment to the respect and rights of the trans community still on shaky ground, so I think we can get a couple more elections out of demonizing them. And look, if the natural result of our legislation is that more trans youth end up killing themselves, well, eggs, omelets, we want to stay in power and stop any tax increases. So that's just how it goes. It's really dirty, really nasty when you break it down to its base components, but that is what their strategy is.
That is what their strategy is, and unfortunately, it works. It works because people, unfortunately, are susceptible to fear and fear mongering. They're easily distracted by these issues rather than focusing on the fact that the people that they keep voting into office over and over and over again never serve their best interests. I mean, we're talking about Texas, which left their own people in the cold thanks to their deregulated, privatized energy grid. So did Greg Abbott worry about the children who were in households that were really struggling during a winter storm when all of the, like the heat wasn't working because none of the energy grid was weatherized to withstand that cold weather, right? Was he worried about the children in those households? Of course he wasn't. He doesn't care about kids. I mean, while he's doing this, while he is like trying to essentially posture, we know that, but what is he effectively doing? He's getting involved in the decisions that parents would make about their own children. And while he's doing that, he's also simultaneously going on this, ridiculous, the ridiculous strategy to like have dumb parents decide what all children should be able to learn in history classes.
Yeah.
Right? Because parents should have a say in what their kids learn. But hey, parents who know their kids better than everyone else shouldn't be able to make decisions about the health care of their own kids.
100%. Yeah, the only thing, like there's a bunch of different approaches to not having talked about the economy that the Republican Party have taken over the past 2 years or so. This thus far is missing one element, which I'm sure will be coming in about 2 weeks. We saw it in the Don't Say Gay bill, which isn't just the demonizing of a community, the banning of open discussion, and the free access to certain types of literature, those sorts of things. It is the new strategy, which is deputizing busybody parents to sue schools and institutions. So this current thing where they're gonna try to apparently take trans kids away from their loving, accepting families is only missing that strategy, is that little bit of it. And so right now this is just coming from Greg Abbott, but you don't think that like Republicans are scrambling to put together legislation right now that would make it so it's not just that these state agencies have a duty to report, doctors have a duty to report, but if you're a parent and you see another family that's doing this, isn't it really on you to report them? And maybe as an incentive to get you to do your citizen duty, we'll give you $10,000 if you do it. That's how this always ends up. I guarantee that's where this is going.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I want to read a few more excerpts from this letter. Texas law imposes reporting requirements upon all licensed professionals who have direct contact with children who may be subject to such abuse. Now again, referring to this as abuse is ridiculous. We're talking about children minors who might identify as transgender. And Abbott is having the government get involved, intervene in the decisions that parents make on behalf of their own children in this regard. Because the state government allegedly knows what's best for these kids as opposed to their own parents on an issue like whether or not they're transgender, right? I don't know, Republicans don't have a good track record on these issues. I think I would rather go with the parents and what they believe is in the best interest of their children.
Yeah, you listed all this incredibly complex, scientific stuff that goes into these decisions and the actual procedures, whether surgical or hormonal, that are beyond my knowledge at this point. Guarantee they're beyond theirs. This is the same Texas Republican Party that thinks that Plan B is an abortion. You really think they're gonna understand the list of terms that Anna spat out earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same Republican Party that has pushed out anti-vax garbage that has gotten hundreds of thousands of Americans killed from a virus that they could have been protected against. That's the party that we're talking about here. I'm sorry, they have absolutely no leg to stand on this issue. It is a manufactured culture war by the Republican Party, but it will have real world effects, a negative impact on innocent people who get caught up in the middle because again, we're dealing with politicians who have nothing else to offer, nothing. While Abbott continues to push for the same deregulation that is literally getting people in Texas killed.
Yeah.
He's trying to distract. He's trying to distract with more extreme culture war garbage. And it's really, really sad to see it. I'm so sick of it. And I just wish that voters were smarter and wouldn't get sucked into the fear and nonsense that's being fed to them by the Republican Party here.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.